Gracias, Roberto. Buenos días. It's a great pleasure to be here in Madrid and to see such a full room. It's full of hope, full of sparkling messages that we have seen this morning. Mariano this morning told us, "Bancos tienes mala fama." Io rappresento los bancos. That's the problem that I have. But also Mariano said to us that to have a revolution, you have to have ideas, business, and dinero. Well, we represent an impressive financial structure that probably helped to guide Europe out of the crisis in the last 18 months. But Mariano didn't say two things, that to have a real revolution, we have also to have two other elements which are very important: cooperation and passion. Because if you want to have a revolution, you have really to improve the cooperation at international level, make sure that we will fix this crisis at global level. The European Union has done quite a lot in the last 18 months. We learned from our mistakes. I think in the last crisis in 2008, we have learned that we couldn't cope with the next crisis without a strong and impressive cooperation. In few months, the European Union has created a huge financial support for the North, for the South, for all the European citizens. At the same time, has been able to create a huge sanitary umbrella, which has now, we can say, protected 80% of the European population. Now, I have a fantastic job because I travel and I see at least 2 European cities per week. And if you go in Copenhagen, in Berlin, in Milan, in Paris, you feel that something is new, something is happening. And this full room is again the demonstration that something is happening. Cooperation. Cooperating, we will fix this problem at the European level, and we will try to, I don't know if we can put the presentation on the screen. Well, the cooperation will actually help us in moving forward. And I think that a strong cooperation between the real estate sector and the financial sector will be the link which will help us to activate the revolution. In this environment, you sell dreams, and we have to finance the dreams of people, and we invest in changing life. I think that what we see today, a full room, is a good sign, but we should not have the illusion that life will be like it was. As Mariano said, and Francis this morning, we have a global challenge, and we need to accelerate, and the economy is accelerating, and all these good ideas that we have are arriving in our daily life. There are some basic information that I would like to share with you. Today is Thursday. For the lucky ones like me, living in Brussels, which is an awful city, Thursday of this part of the month is a bad day because there is a council of the European Union, so the traffic goes crazy and you cannot reach your office normally. And this morning was an important council meeting. If you look at the news this morning, your Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, opened the meeting saying we need to accelerate on energy. Energy is the strategic issue for the European Union. The Spanish Prime Minister is asking all the 27 Prime Ministers to accelerate on the energy strategy for the European Union. Why energy is important for you as well? Because energy will have a deep impact on the life of every European citizen. And we can do something together to reduce the cost for their house of every single European citizens. The challenge that we have is to build a new hope, building and give this to the next generation. The challenge is not provide a mortgage to Luca. The challenge it will be provide a mortgage to a young couple of 25 years old in Murcia, in Montpellier, in Regensburg, in Palermo. That's the challenge. To provide the financial instrument to young couples to build a new life and to build a family, as Javier said. And we have to adapt our financial model to make sure that the economy will be able to provide the right financial tool to these young couples. And we have to do something else for this young couple. They probably don't have the money for the down payment. And we have to make sure that the banks will be able to provide the down payment, which is the savings that they have to provide to guarantee the mortgage. In Spain, for example, it's quite high. I think it's difficult to provide a mortgage if you don't put a down payment of 20, maybe even 35% if you include taxes. How many of your young couples can afford it? How we can fix it? There are different ways. We are changing the financial regulation. We are asking the European Union, and you will see this already on Tuesday, to help families to make energy renovation. We will see that the Basel implementation of the regulation for banks that will be published by the European Commission on Tuesday will have a clear recognition for banks to push banks to help energy renovation. Why energy renovation is the future and is important for our young couples. Because if you convince your clients to make energy renovation in their house, they will be saving 50% of their energy cost. To energy efficiency category, they represent a jump of in the disposable income. So the family will have more money to make works in the house, to improve their quality, maybe to spend money for the education of their kids. That is the building block for the next generation. The European Union is very well aware of this and is giving a massive, unprecedented help to every single member state to do an investment in digital and sustainable solution. That's the opportunity for all of you to work together next to the banks and to provide a green mortgages to your clients. Why a green mortgages can help a family? Well, if you renovate your house can improve in value property around 8%. But as I said, you can provide a cash back immediately in the pocket of your clients of 50% by reducing the energy cost. And I have done this calculation before the energy crisis. As you all know, the energy bills are going up and the price of energy cost is increasing burdens for European families. And we know that we have a lot of fragile families that are at the limit of paying the mortgages. And if we take action, if we give hope, is the corazón democrático of the European Union. That was what Mariano was saying, is that in the crisis of La Spagnola in the 20s, Europe missed this opportunity to give hope to their citizens. And we paid back this lack of hope. In Italy, where I come from, we paid this with the fascism. In your country as well, in Germany was even worse, and in other countries was awful. So giving hope to citizens is the engine, la macchina economica, that will prevent our system to have a crisis. We can work together to give hope out of this crisis. It's a rinascimento. We can make our cities more beautiful, more sustainable, more dynamic for a dynamic life. Our life will never go back like before. We will never go back and having a bank account without having an app on your phone. We will do everything with our phone. Digitalization will enter in our house, and we need to provide data. You can help the banks to collect this data. The banks will be able to give cheaper funding to your clients if they have sustainable data. You can provide this data to the banks. So your role is fundamental in this machine of hope. Because if we work together and this full room of people, it means that you are ready to work on this new landscape. And this is not a challenge only for Europe. This is a challenge for the global. We are working in Brazil, we are working in South America, we are working in Canada, we are working in Indonesia, in Morocco, in Africa, because this is a global challenge. And in every single country where you go, you have a middle class asking to have a better life. And we can give these answers all together, and we can build a new paradigm, as Javier was saying this morning. The paradigm is a cooperation. That's what saved Europe every single time that we enter in a crisis. Don't forget that in the Middle Age, after one of the worst, probably, pandemic crises, we had the Rinascimento, which was a revolution, which was arts, ideas, new monuments, new churches, new movement, new ideas, but also new financial tool. If you go to Florence, you cannot imagine the Dome of Florence without the bankers, the Famiglia Medici, who financed this. If you come to Rome, my love city, you cannot imagine Rome without the role of the bankers who supported the Rinascimento, who paid for a new way of living, a new way of thinking. And that's the beauty of our cities. Allow me to be politically correct and to speak also about Paris. How we can imagine Paris without Haussmann? And Haussmann was designing Paris with a new financial system, which was the cédulas hipotecarias, which was l'obligation foncière. The same was for Copenhagen, for Stockholm, for Berlin, for Munich. That's the way that we do Europe, working all together to build a new house. Because what we are building from Brussels is a new house. And you help us to build and make this house more sustainable, greener, and safer for our citizens. We have, I don't know if the presentation, but no, it's not there, but I mean, it's fine. The challenge that we have in front of us is a huge challenge. 220 million of European houses are not ready for the energy challenge that we have in front of us. So every single family probably has to pay an energy renovation of around 20,000, 30,000 euros. That's the message that you have to give to your clients. They have to be ready to find a financial instrument which will help them to make an extra investment of 20,000 euros for making their house more secure for the future. Just to give you some information, while we are speaking, the French National Assembly, Assemblée Nationale, is discussing a law which will make not possible to rent or sell a house which is of energy category G. This will enter in force in 2025. Starting from 2028, the limit will be to category F. Can you imagine what will happen to your clients? Think of your clients. How many houses you are selling which are G or F to your clients? This is something that you have to address now, because your clients, by keeping their house in G or F, they will lose money. And they will be unhappy with you when in 2 years' time, they will realize that they have done the wrong investment. So we have to help your clients to get a greener house, to make energy renovation, and to make their investment the best investment of their life. I'm here to ask your collaboration. I represent 2,000 banks at European level. We are working with the World Bank. Roberto is our deputy president. In 1 year, he will be our president. And we have a challenge. The first challenge is keep Europe together. Spaniards with Swedish people. Polish with French people. It's not easy, believe me. I had black hair before starting to do this job. Finding a compromise in Europe is very, very, very difficult. But when you have a compromise, we stick to this compromise and we move forward all together, 500 million of people doing the same thing. That's our strength. And this crisis has represented that we can move all together, and when we move all together, there is economic recovery. And this is what we have to do. And I'm here for asking your support and to join us in this adventure to build a new house for all of us, and especially for your kids, for our next generation. Thank you all for your kind invitation and kind attention. Thank you.